Ready to go ahead with the proceedings of the inaugural session. Ladies and gentlemen, may I also request for all mobile phones to be kindly kept on to silent mode from now onwards, please, so that we have an uninterrupted flow of the proceedings of the sessions during the day. Thank you. To begin the proceedings of the India Space Congress 2026, the opening plenary session, also the opening inaugural session, I have the proud privilege in inviting on stage Dr. Subbarao Pavuluri, President SIA-INDIA. A very warm welcome to you, sir. I have the privilege of inviting our very special guest, His Excellency Dr. Momen Shen, Representative Taipei Economic and Cultural Center in India. A very warm welcome to you, Your Excellency. I have the privilege of inviting Mr. Phi Chosri, Deputy Executive Director, Geoinformatics and Space Technology Development Agency. A very warm welcome to you, sir. I have the proud privilege of inviting Padam Shri Dr. Shailesh Nayak, Director NIAS and former Secretary Ministry of Earth Sciences. A very warm welcome to you, sir. I have the proud privilege of inviting Vice Admiral A.B. Singh, retired PVSM, AVSM, VSM, Indian Navy veteran, to kindly grace the stage. Very warm welcome to you, sir. I have the privilege of inviting Mr. Ramesh Ramaswamy, Executive Vice President and General Manager, International Hughes Communications, India. Warm welcome to you, sir. And Shri Anil Prakash, Director General, SIA-INDIA. Namaskar and good morning. Esteemed dignitaries on the dais, distinguished dignitaries, members of the diplomatic corps, leaders of space agencies, captains of industry, scientists, researchers, students, entrepreneurs, investors, distinguished delegates, respected members of the press and media, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you to the 5th India Space Congress 2026, which is being hosted under the overarching theme, Reimagining the Global Space Landscape. Organized by SIA-INDIA, this morning marks the beginning of 3 days of high-level deliberations, strategic conversations, knowledge exchange, and meaningful partnerships that will help shape the future of the global space economy. Ladies and gentlemen, today the world stands at the threshold of a new space age, an age where satellites are becoming the backbone of the global digital economy, an age where space capabilities are shaping the economic competitiveness, national security, climate resilience, and technological leadership, an age where access to space is no longer the ambition of a few nations, but an opportunity for many. The global space economy today exceeds $500 billion and is projected to surpass $1 trillion in the coming decade. More than 11,000 active satellites orbit our planet, and thousands more are expected to be launched in the years ahead. As this transformation accelerates, one reality is becoming increasingly clear. The future of the global economy will be built not only on Earth, but also in the space. And in that future, India has a defining role to play. From Chandrayaan to Gaganyaan, from satellite communications to navigation, From launch services to emerging commercial applications, India is rapidly establishing itself as one of the world's most dynamic and trusted space powers. The Indian space economy, currently valued at over $8 billion, is expected to witness unprecedented growth in the years ahead, driven by policy reforms, private sector participation, with over 400 startups, international partnerships, and a shared national vision. India is entering a transformative decade for its space sector. But no nation can realize the full potential of the space alone. The opportunities before us are global. The challenges before us are global, and the future will be built through collaboration. Collaboration between the governments and industry, between established and emerging space nations, between innovators and investors, between science and enterprise. And that is precisely why we are gathered here today. Over the past 5 consecutive years, India's Space Congress has evolved into one of the most influential platforms for dialogue, collaboration, and partnership within the space sector. What began as a vision to create common platform for engagement has grown into a globally recognized forum that brings together policymakers, regulators, space agencies, industry leaders, startups, academia, investors, defense stakeholders, and international partners. Over these 5 editions, India Space Congress has contributed to strengthening India's space ecosystem by fostering a meaningful discussion, facilitating partnerships, showcasing innovation, encouraging investment, and promoting international cooperation. Most importantly, it has become a platform where ideas evolve into collaborations and collaborations evolve into opportunities. Today, as we inaugurate the 5th edition of India Space Congress, we reaffirm a shared commitment to strengthen the global space ecosystem, to unlock new opportunities for innovation and growth, to advance responsible and sustainable space activities, and to ensure that the benefits of space contribute to the prosperity of the nations. And ladies and gentlemen, to formally inaugurate this 5th edition of the India Space Congress and to formally begin the proceedings, we would now proceed for the ceremonial lamp lighting ceremony. I would request our dignitaries on the dais to kindly do the honors of lighting the ceremonial lamp and formally inaugurating today's proceedings. Ladies and gentlemen, the lighting of the lamp is a time-honored Indian tradition, symbolizing the dispelling of darkness and the ushering in of knowledge, wisdom, clarity, and collective purpose. As we begin India Space Congress 2026, the lamp represents our shared aspirations to eliminate new pathways for scientific progress, global collaborations, responsible innovation, and the peaceful use of outer space. Can we have a group photograph with the lamp, please? And ladies and gentlemen, let's have a warm round of applause as we mark the auspicious beginning of the 5th India Space Congress 2026. We thank all our distinguished dignitaries for doing the honors. And may we request everyone to kindly take their seats on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are privileged to have with us eminent leaders from the government, space agencies, academia, industry, defense, diplomacy, research institutions, and the global space ecosystem. I would now request Dr. Subbarao Pavuluri, President SIA India, to kindly do the honors of welcoming and felicitating the esteemed dignitaries on the dais. We welcome His Excellency Mr. Moonin Chen, Representative Taipei Economic and Cultural Center in India. A huge round of applause to welcome His Excellency. We welcome Mr. Fee Chusri, Deputy Executive Director, Geoinformatics and Space Technology Development Agency. A warm welcome to you, sir. We welcome Mr. Fee Chusri, Deputy Executive Director, Geoinformatics and Space Technology Development Agency. Warm welcome, sir. We welcome Padam Shri Dr. Shailesh Nayak, Director NIAS and former Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences. Warm welcome, sir. We welcome Vice Admiral A.B. Singh, retired PVSM, AVSM, VSM, Indian Navy veteran. Warm welcome to you, sir. And we welcome Mr. Ramesh Ramaswamy, Executive Vice President and General Manager, International Hughes Communications, India. And ladies and gentlemen, it is now my privilege to invite a visionary leader who has played a significant role in strengthening India's private space ecosystem and advancing industry collaboration in the space domain. As the President of SIA-INDIA, Mr. Subbarao Pavuluri has been at the forefront of building bridges between industry, government, academia, international partners, and emerging space enterprises. I would now request Dr. Subbarao Pavuluri to kindly begin the proceedings with his welcome address. Let's put our hands together to welcome sir.
Namaskar to everybody. Good morning. Looks like the weather in Delhi also changed because the space is something big happening here in Delhi. Good. Welcome the distinguished participant on the dais and also participants. Welcome. Thank you. See, there is a great saying in Rigveda which says that Om Daish Santir Antariksha Santi, which means we are talking about a peace in the antariksha, that's in the space. I think that is what is needed today, mostly because the wars that we see in the Middle East or the wars that we see elsewhere, and what's happening on this space. So therefore, we need peace all around. We pray for that. Our ancestors looked at the sky and looked at what's happening in the space, and they wanted peace all around. So that peace we need today, even on the ground also, in the globe. Thank you. Distinguished dignitaries, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of SIA-INDIA, it is my privilege and honor to welcome you to the 5th India Space Congress. And you know that we have been doing this one 5th consecutive year now. I extend a warm welcome to our distinguished dignitaries on the dais, Dr. Sailesh Naik, Director, NIAS, and former Secretary, Minister of Earth Sciences, and my close friend, Mr. Ramesh Ramaswamy, Executive Vice President and GM International, which is Communications. Vice Admiral A.B. Singh, a great warrior who retired from Navy, PVSM, AVSM, VSM. In fact, he has many decorations. Dr. Sharad Kumar Yadav, Honorable Vice Chancellor Aryabhatta is there to come. Mr. P. Choksi, Deputy Executive Director of GSD Data, Thailand. Dr. Mumin Chen, Representative, Tapai Economic Cultural Center in India. And I'm sure by now you must realize the importance of India in the international affairs. And my colleague Anil Prakash, Director General SIA-INDIA. The ancient invocation which I began speaks of peace across the heavens and the vast expanse of space. It is remarkable that a civilization that looked at the skies thousands of years ago with curiosity and wonder could leave us with a message that remains relevant to the age of satellites where we are today. And space stations, artificial intelligence, we are talking about commercial space flights, wherever, all this, very, very relevant, whatever our ancestors in Sanatana looked at the sky and distinguished between the peace on the globe and also peace on the skies. So that's what we are looking forward now. Today, as representatives from governments, industry, academia, defense establishments, research institutions, startups, and diplomatic community gather under one roof. The spirit of inquiry and collaboration remains at the heart of what brings us together today. The spirit of collaboration, that's what the name of the seminar itself is, reimaging in terms of space related to, in terms of collaboration and other things on that. The India Space Congress has now reached its 5th edition. What began as a platform to support India's emerging space ecosystems has evolved into a respected international forum, and where leaders from across the world come together to discuss not only the future of space, but increasingly the future of economic competitiveness. So that's where, Tapai from, and our international friends, I'm sure would recognize that India is becoming the important place for space. This gathering comes at a particularly very significant moment. Around the world, governments and industries are navigating an environment marked by economic prudence, fiscal discipline, geopolitical uncertainty, and changing investment priorities. So that's where India becomes the investment destiny. Across all sectors, when we look at it, organizations are being asked to do more with less amount of investment. Yet, despite these challenges, space continues to attract strategic attention, investment, and policy focus. The reason is simple. The space is no longer viewed solely as a frontier exploration, but it today has become an essential layer of modern economics, enabling communications, navigation, climate monitoring, disaster response, financial networks, transportation systems, national security, digital inclusion, very many things of this kind. We are witnessing a profound transformation in the global space landscape. The distinction between space, telecommunication, digital infrastructure, artificial intelligence, and the strategic technology is rapidly disappearing. The commercial investment is reshaping markets. Now, new entrants are challenging established models. That's why we have so many startup companies today challenging the established processes that already been there over a period of time on that. Nations are rethinking our strategic dependence on supply chains. So that's where India becomes important as a part of the supply chain for international space endeavors. Technologies such as direct-to-device connectivity, autonomous systems, advanced Earth observations, in-orbit servicing, and AI-enabled infrastructure are redefining what is possible. The space economy is no longer developing in isolation. Again, that's where India becomes most important internationally. It is becoming deeply integrated into the broader economic and strategic architecture of nations. And India to become the global leader in this area, to become the Vishwaguru, India is making all efforts, and we request the international community also to recognize that fact. It is against this backdrop that we have chosen the theme of this year's Congress, Reimaging the Global Space Landscape. Again, reinventing collaboration, because we are sure that we cannot grow alone to this matter. Any country cannot grow on their own. It has to be collaborative effort. So therefore, reinventing collaboration in space and releasing the next era of space. That's how we titled the entire thing in this. These are not independent aspirations. They are interconnected imperatives for all of us. The next era of space will demand new forms of cooperation between governments and industry, between established space powers and emerging space nations, between innovators and investors, and between academia and enterprise. No single nation or company or institution can independently unlock the full potential of the opportunities that lay ahead of us. That's where collaboration is required. That's why we named this as this seminar as Reimaging the Global Landscape, Reinventing Collaboration in Space. That collaboration becomes more important than that. The distinguished leaders present on the stage today represent precisely that spirit of collaboration. Whether it is the growing collaboration between India and Thailand, or this can be into other areas also. India is expanding in its engagement with the global satellite communication networks. Our partnerships and academia and institutions are all coming together onto this. So therefore, it is very important on the collaboration part of it. So that's why the seminar also, we are mostly stressing on the collaboration. That's why we're reinventing the entire wheel of the space economy in this country. India today stands at the defining moment in space journey. The reforms undertaken in recent years have unleashed entrepreneurial energy, attracted investment, encouraged innovation, and opened new avenues for global collaboration. India's ambition of building USD, that's something like 44 billion space economy by 2033 is not merely economic target. It reflects a larger vision of positioning India as a leading contributor to the global space economy. In this respect, you must also bring into your notice the fact that we landed on the moon, in the south pole of the moon. That shows India's tenacity, India's expertise in this area. It is necessary that all of us to collaborate to go further in the space economy. As I have already stated, there is a growing case for viewing space as a critical infrastructure. It's not only just infrastructure, it's more than the infrastructure in the space for any country. As economics becomes increasingly dependent upon space-enabled services, the importance of resilient, secure, and scalable space capabilities becomes very self-evident. Recognition of space as a critical infrastructure is not simply about safeguarding assets in orbit. It is about creating the conditions of necessary investment. So we have General Ponnu here, who talks about critical infrastructure and safeguarding the infrastructure. In fact, today is going to be more than criticality for Indian space program. It is about ensuring that space becomes an integral component of national development strategies and economic upbringing. This year's Congress also reflects the growing maturity of the ecosystem that we are collectively building. For the first time, we are launching, in fact, many initiatives have come up in that. One is ISS Space Excellence Awards, recognizing the outstanding contribution made by youngsters in this regard. And also launching ISC, what's known as, ideation related. So a few of those things also you will be witnessing in the next 2 days on this. As we begin this Congress, I encourage all of you to look beyond immediate opportunities and individual organizational interests. The decisions we make today will shape how future generations communicate, navigate, connect, secure, and understand their world. The next era of space will not be defined solely by the satellites we launch or the technologies we develop. It will be defined by the partnerships we build, the trust we establish, and the collective vision we create for humanity and for future. India has both opportunity and responsibility to contribute meaningfully to this future for collaboration. SIA-INDIA remains committed to bringing together stakeholders from across the ecosystems to advance the shared missions. Once again, I welcome you all for 5th India Space Congress and wish 3 days of fruitful thing. Good luck. Thank you very much. Take him.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Papuluri, for your warm welcome address, for setting the context for the 5th India Space Congress. Your remarks have fully highlighted the importance of collaboration, innovation and policy alignment in shaping the future of India's space sector. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to have amongst us today, especially on the days, Padam Shri Dr. Shailesh Naik, Director, National Institute of Advanced Studies and former Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences. He is one of India's most respected scientific leaders with outstanding contributions in the field of earth sciences, oceanography, remote sensing, climate studies, and coastal management, and space-based applications. His work has played a vital role in advancing India's capabilities in using space and geospatial technologies. I now invite Padam Shri Dr. Shailesh Naik to kindly deliver his special address. Let's put our hands together to welcome him.
Thank you very much and good morning to everybody. Dr. Subbarao and distinguished guests on the dais, dear participants, I'm very happy to be here. And first of all, I would like to compliment SIA for the excellent organization of this Congress, an excellent program. And today, I think the topic is on the re-imaging the global space landscape. I think it's very, very critical, and I would like to say a few words about this. We know that the global space scenario is changing pretty fast. Today, the small satellites are being deployed on a large scale for operational applications. The sensor systems are now evolving from a single unit to multimodal fusion-based intelligent systems. Hyperspectral sensors, GNSS radio occultation, synthetic aperture radar, laser altimeter, and many more. And these are providing a multidimensional data for characterizing and monitoring the Earth system also, and as well as the chain detection and forecasting. Massive volume of data are placing a heavy demand on real-time data processing as well as storage. The large availability of data from a variety of sensors across space and time will need models to digest the multimodal input with quality assessments. Artificial intelligence particularly deep learning-based models, is to be integrated into data acquisitions and processing for applications such as automatic target detection, chain detection, and parameter inversion. Real-time calibration, spatial and temporal synchronization of sensors, and data fusion are the key challenges. Newer algorithms are required for mapping in dynamic environment such as traffic flow or natural hazards and many more. The implementation of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development requires wide range of data from Earth observation satellites for extracting information as well as to monitor the progress of SDGs. The availability of a large amount of multidimensional data in space, time, and spectral domain, along with the location-based data on social, economic, health, and security-related aspects and natural phenomena required for wide range of applications from local to global applications such as climate change. The new methodologies, algorithms developed through AI and other technologies will be useful for estimating various SDG indicators. There is a need to strengthen the real-time data analytics, advanced computing techniques like cloud computing, machine learning, large language models, high performance and edge computing, quantum computing, etc., and develop geospatial foundation models. The adoption of such technologies will facilitate sustainable development, including smart cities, digital twins, and disaster management. To support these challenges, efforts required to standardize geospatial education framework, curriculum structures, and accreditation systems. These aspects can be further enhanced by digital learning experiences, AI-based enabled education, cloud-based training programs, and immersive technologies, integration of photogrammetry, remote sensing, computer science, statistics, applied mathematics is the key to such a framework. A close collaboration required with the space industries to jointly define the data standards, evaluate algorithms, and evolve innovative business models. A strong collaboration among academia, industry, government institutions, and international organizations is utmost importance of societal development. And as I can see, the SIA is providing a platform to all these stakeholders and to facilitate such a development. I wish very fruitful discussion in this Congress and hope that this interaction will prove to gain further knowledge on this very important subject. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Naik, for your insightful address and for highlighting the critical role of space-based applications in environmental resilience, climate action, and sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to have with us on the dais Mr. Ramesh Ramaswamy, Executive Vice President and General Manager, International Hughes Communications India. Hughes has been a leading name in satellite communications and connectivity solutions, enabling reliable communication networks across geographies, sectors, and communities. In a world where digital inclusion, resilient networks, and seamless connectivity are essential to economic development, satellite communications have emerged as a vital pillar of global digital infrastructure. And Mr. Ramaswamy brings with him deep experience in international satellite communications, broadband connectivity, enterprise networks, and technology-led transformation experience. His insights today will be particularly significant as the world explores next-generation satellite services, hybrid networks, and direct-to-device connectivity, and the role of of space in bridging the digital divide. May I now request Mr. Ramesh Ramaswamiji to kindly deliver the keynote address.
Okay, how you guys doing? Okay, I grew up in South India, Madras, I guess Chennai. I went to college in College of Engineering, India. Frankly, I spent most of my time in the cricket nets and playing tournaments, didn't go to class. Actually, so if you went to one of my professors and said that I actually made it as an engineer for 30 years in SATCOM, and I'm going to speak at the India Space Conference, they'll think you'll be drinking something. So I thought I'll do this in a couple of buckets. The first, just kind of outline what I've seen evolve in the space industry over the last, 15, 20 years. Again, you're all very seasoned executives, seasoned, bureaucrats. So if a few of these things come out as motherhood, I apologize, but a few things need to be said. And then I thought I'll finish up with where India could play a pivotal role in things as they move forward in this space, pun intended. Okay, so the first thing, as I've traveled around the world, as first as an engineer and as a business development executive, the first thing I noticed is, like, the biggest challenge used to be when you went and met with telcos or telcos, you'd spend half your time trying to explain to them what SATCOM was, and then get over the phase that they would say, oh man, satellite is too expensive, it doesn't work as well, I would rather use it, I'll use it only when I don't have anything else, okay? And that would be the biggest challenge. Guess what, right now, fast forward 20 years, I can't think of one telco or cellco who doesn't have satellite front and center as part of their strategic plans and in their tactical toolbox. Pick. I don't know if you guys probably noticed, but about a month or so ago, the three of the top telcos in the world, Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, formed a joint venture specifically with the purpose of pooling resources to work on satellite communications. That's number one. The second thing, probably related, is how satellite and terrestrial technologies have really converged. I mean, it's been happening for some time. In fact, we as Hughes were at the forefront of that using, again, technically it's not a big deal using, protocols, VRRP, you can make it all work together, but there was still not as tightly integrated. The protocols themselves, you would have to do a lot of bespoke developments. You can take 2G, 3G, 4G, you want to develop it, it would take bespoke, which is why it never really made it in a mass market. But now with the evolution of, ITU recognizes that, hey, look, space is such an important piece of development. Release 3GPP release 17 made, the satellite protocol integrated with terrestrial protocols, and it's going to get more and more. So, and you're going to see that in 5G, 6G. And so that's another huge development. The third is how much capacity is available globally. When I was, my boss, I have a different boss, all of them used to tell me, connectivity is a commodity and bandwidth is a commodity. I used to roll my eyes but I could, every time I tried to sell capacity, it was like a treasure hunt. It wasn't that much available. But now, capacity is available everywhere homogenously. You can go anywhere, and, people have talked about all these LEO constellations. So that's one thing now, it's a given. And I think people use this term now, right, which is satellite is just not a network, part of infrastructure, all that stuff. What does it really mean? It just means you take it for granted. Nobody talks about roads, nobody talks about water, nobody about electricity. It's just it's given there. So what? It doesn't matter, it's what you do with it. So which brings us to the next part, which is capacity is available, what are we going to do with it? And there, we could spend an entire conference or more talking about all the things that are evolving. I think people have talked about this. Again, I don't want to appear like I'm speaking motherhood. Speaking purely with consumer broadband, If somebody had told me, 5 years ago that there's going to be 7 million terminals globally for consumers using broadband, I would have said, you're crazy. And guess what? That's where we are today, and it's going to get more and more and more. Okay. Start with enterprise networks. Enterprises don't really care whether you use terrestrial, satellite, or not. And the beauty of what's evolved now is it's pretty much satellite has come to a point where it's plug and play. Whether you have a fiber connection or we have a fixed wireless connection or you put a LEO satellite connection, it almost appears seamless, so you use what makes sense depending on what applications you have. So that's the second part. Third, everybody knows this mobility, whether it's in-flight connections or where you're on a cruise ship, you want to be connected everywhere, every time, and these LEO constellations make them available. I mean, who wants to get on a plane if you can't use connectivity now? So I think clearly that's going to change the world. The fourth is tactical applications. I think there's going to be a panel later today on DoD applications. Satellites have always been obviously critical for sovereign applications and defense applications, but now with people realizing that actually proliferated connections are better because of for tactical reasons and more secure, you can almost see how these constellations are going to be proliferating just for special purpose applications. I mean, think about it. In a lot of ways, I think of how geo satellites evolved. Satellites used to be for sovereign, large companies like Intelsat and SES had satellites, governments had satellites. But then what happened? Smaller satellites evolved, and every regional operator had satellites. Guess what? Private companies use satellites, and Hughes being one of them. I see that happening again with LEO constellations. As satellites get smaller, launch vehicle cadence gets better, and more capable, you're going to see hundreds of constellations. Now, all of that is, and then the last one, which is sort of close to my heart, is really direct-to-device. As I was saying, people have always been using terrestrial protocols, 2G, 3G, special purpose phones, but it never took off because you had to buy a special phone. And for the first time with the evolution of the new protocols, a regular handset now can directly talk to a satellite. And think about what that really means for true convergence of telco and satellite operators. One of the biggest challenges of satellite business, and I've done this for a while, is your initial subscriber acquisition costs, because you got to invest in a terminal, costs $50,000, $100,000. For the first time, when you look at a spreadsheet, and I did this business case, the first time you launch a network, you instantly have hundreds and hundreds of millions of devices to use it. It's just incredible business. So I think that's going to take it to the next level of growth in satellite communications. Okay, so let me finish up with, what you cannot talk about being one of these things without talking about AI. Look, I'm not smart enough to figure out exactly what AI would do to satellite communications, because we're all trying to figure out what AI is going to do to humanity. But you can see already, because some of the challenges of all of this is clearly as constellations evolve, what do you do about congestion, collisions, security, and then and sort of an orchestrated way to manage these constellations. And you can see how AI can play a role. We already use AI for managed networks, AI ops, but then you can think of how proactively, because a single collision is a disaster. It kind of cascades, so you know how AI can work there. And of course, on the supply side, material sciences to figuring out, better way to do constellations. You can see how AI can work. So I think this sort of sets the stage of sort of the evolutions that go on. And look, I didn't scratch the surface. There's a lot more to talk about Earth observation, and I can go on and on. But the suffice to say, truly, the age of satellites being prevalent in every aspect of what consumers, enterprises, and sovereign nations and defense organizations do is here. So where does India play. It's a very pivotal role. And if you look, and I look at it both from, let me call it demand and supply side. And what I mean by demand side is, we talked about capacity being available everywhere. Honestly, that's not the case in India yet. I mean, I know capacity is available, but truly the total amount of satellite capacity available in India is still coming on. So we've barely scratched the surface. So from a demand perspective, the greatest thing that India will do, I believe, is to have the ability to consume the capacity that's going to come through, obviously, the demographics of the population and the connecting the unconnected, the sons of BB, BharatNet. I can go on. Tactical applications, people are going to talk about it. So demand side, I think India is going to put satellite on the map. I'm a firm believer. The second part on the supply side, and what I mean by supply is making, how do you evolve this? Clearly, what India did to the software sector naturally lends itself to what you can do in the satellite space. And the great work done by InSpace and the private sectors that are evolving. I don't know the many names here. Obviously, you know the names, Skyroot to Anand Technologies to Dhruva Space. It's just an ecosystem coming up which can add value not only in the satellite building space, on the launch space, building ground segments. And one of the things not said as much is people focus a lot on launch and satellite, but not so much on ground segment. The ability to roll out gateways and infrastructure and to seamlessly operate them, including with data centers, with AI at the edge, is something where I think, obviously, with the incredible STEM talent and the schools that we have in India can play a role. And then as constellations evolve, it's not about how you're going to build and launch satellites, but how you're going to orchestrate and how you're going to, from a regulatory perspective and international, how you're going to cooperate. And with the, with the geopolitical plays that India has, with democratic values and the way we operate, I really believe we can set the stage not only in cooperation, but in the regulatory framework. There's a great work that's been done by Triad AI with DOT on making sure that you balance, private, public, and governmental aspirations for spectrum. It's been great work done here. I think you set the stage. So I truly believe now that we're poised to play a great role. Let me say that this is probably going to come across like hyperbole, but let me say it anyway. Each generation, I believe, has a frontier. Oceans, it was, industrial revolution and automobiles, aviation, obviously internet, mobile. But I believe space, for our generation, is the next frontier. I think India is going to be playing a pivotal role. And Hughes, I got to mention my company's name. It's in my employment contract because they pay for my trip here. We are committed to this country. We have a great operation out here in Delhi, and we've been here for many, many years. And it's our privilege that we can play a small role in what's the next great frontier. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, for that thought-provoking keynote address. Ladies and gentlemen, Vice Admiral Ajendra Bahadur Singh, PVSM, AVSM, VSM, is a distinguished veteran of the Indian Navy with over 4 decades of service from the year 1982 to 2023. During his illustrious career, he participated in major operations including Op Pavan, Op Vijay, and Op Parakram, and commanded frontline naval platforms including INS Veer, INS Vindhyagiri, INS Trishul, and the aircraft carrier INS Virat. He also commanded the Eastern Naval Fleet and held key tri-services appointments, including the Deputy Commander-in-Chief, Strategic Forces Command, and Deputy Chief roles of Headquarters Integrated Defense Staff. He has the rare distinction of having served as Commander-in-Chief of both the Eastern Naval Command and the Western Naval Command. An accomplished professional and academic, Vice Admiral Inagural holds a master's degree in Defense and Strategic Studies from the University of Madras and Global Security from Cranfield University, United Kingdom. He has also served as an instructor at the National Defense Academy, the Navigation and Direction School, and the Defense Services Staff College. For his exceptional services, he has been honored with the Vishisht Seva Medal, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, and Param Vishisht Seva Medal by the Honorable President of India. And post-retirement also, he continues to contribute to strategic and defense discourse as a speaker, author, and advisor, and also as a thought leader. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the proud privilege in inviting Vice Admiral A.B. Singh for the special address.
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Subbarao, President SIA, Dr. Sailesh Naik, friends on the dais, senior thought leaders sitting in the audience, friends, ladies and gentlemen. I'm indeed delighted to be here at the 5th India Space Congress and speak on the most important subject as far as the armed forces are concerned, on space, satellite communications, and issues to that effect. You know, my generation grew up with that thought of Chanda Mama. And for us, we've seen the first moon mission in 59, to go on to the first landing in 69, the transit system for the submarines in 64, and of that era, the first TV channels coming online between 75 and 82. So to sit here and talk in 2026 is some dreams which were never thought of. And I must say it's been possible primarily because of people like you sitting in the audience who dreamt and then delivered. I think that's the biggest part of the story. So I would say it's most important to dream and then implement what you want to do. Just like the mobile technology has brought prosperity and opportunities to the 1.4 billion people in India, I have a firm belief that space will bring greater opportunity of connectedness to the humanity at large, and therefore we need to collaborate in great measure. This can improve military capabilities, save lives during disasters, and enhance enterprise operations in rural and hard-to-get communication areas, and create even new challenges if the technology falls into evil hands. So we need to be careful. If I were to list top 6 space technology trends for 2026 and beyond, I think, as Mr. Ramaswamy said, space is becoming more than a place for satellites. These include many issues, and it is an area turning into a platform for computing, AI, new digital services, go beyond far basic connectivity. Private companies, as in India and abroad, are driving this innovation. The 2.1 trillion valuation of SpaceX today tells us where the money is to be made. And that's what is in store for all of you. The startups are entering the mix, and they are too driving new models, satellite as a service, or even satellite data analytics, which are many startups are doing in India as well. The physical antenna size is reducing, and as Mr. Ramaswamy just brought out, you're going to have satellite communication on your normal mobile device in a short while from now. These are all dreams which will be fulfilled. Now, of course, people are thinking of orbital data centers, but last point which I want to make here is any commercial system must have financial viability, and therefore systems should be reliable, flexible, and yet secure. This will not only push up demand for better navigation among satellites and space systems, stronger cybersecurity, and more resilient connectivity. As far as our part of the world is concerned, the Asia-Pacific or the Indo-Pacific is quickly becoming a global arena. A lot of research is happening. It is believed that this region may overtake or be equal to the technology and the space assets by 2032. Countries like Japan, South Korea, Australia are all investing in heavy amounts in all these countries, in these technologies towards innovation. China and India also moving ahead, but with totally diverse evolving landscape in terms of scale, vision, technological independence, and strategic models. While the Chinese has prioritized centralized investments in mega constellations, India emphasizes on open market, FDI, and public-private partnership. Focusing on the Indian space policy, I think it's done a lot of good and permitted FDI, opened up to the private sector. The ISRO is planning to launch about 200 odd satellites as per Dr. Narayan, who just spoke a few days ago in Ahmedabad. And Indian program is scaling up. It is currently at a mission mode, and I would say a lot of good work has been done by InSpace and the New Space India Limited. We hope that we should be able to launch our first 12 satellites in the next 4 to 5 years, that is anticipated. Now look at contrast. 3 companies in China are planning to launch about 38,000 satellites in the next 5 years. That's the numbers. So if we are going to look at the future, I think the most important part is to dream big, because that will bring in stability, that will bring in economic viability and things to that effect. As far as the military side is concerned, let me kind of bring you to some issues which, really speaking, impact. Now, as far as the modern conflict is concerned, it is no longer defined just by firepower or force levels, but it is more of a contest between visibility, transparency, and things to that effect. The ability to see first, understand first, decide first, and act faster than the adversary is crucial to modern warfare. The battlefield is now continuously observed, analyzed, and interpreted, transforming geography into a dynamic data investment. Geospatial intelligence will remain the center of the entire system. And especially being a naval officer, I think a large amount of interest also has to be generated in the maritime domain for our space efforts, which is currently centered primarily on the land arena. Maritime domain awareness, tracking of shipping patterns, monitoring infrastructure, and surveillance are totally inescapable. In Ukraine, if we see, there has been fusion of satellite imagery, drones, and open source intelligence that has reshaped the battlefield transparency. If you look at the Gaza, similarly, precision warfare has been driven primarily by ISR. In whether we call it Red Sea or the Gulf of Hormuz crisis, we see GPS spoofing and interference with the systems which are space-based have been there. Of course, India also needs some systems, and dependence on foreign satellites will certainly bring in new vulnerabilities. So therefore, we need to be careful. There has been talk of militarization of space, but I would leave it at that. Now, emerging threats that will be driving the need for enhanced security have to be concentrated on the command and control, information and surveillance systems for the armed forces. And The NATO, if you look at it, is deploying a whole range of satellites from the GEO to the new next generation GEO coupled with the LEO satellites. All these are also required for the Indian system if we have to do well in the future. We have looked at a large number of trends which are there, and many of them would have been played out in the conflicts that have just gone by. We have looked at the Russian-Ukraine conflict, wherein increasing leverage is being based to LEO-based PNT services, and we need to really concentrate on those. The GPS positioning system, which has got over 6 billion users, is really at the mercy of a few nations and a few systems that will need to be countered or at least catered for in our scenario in case of a denied system. I would say this conference brings in a lot of people who know a lot. The need to collaborate is essential, but my last point to all of you is dream big, put your money at the dreams, and execute well. I think our biggest bane in the past has been our capacity and capability to deliver on the dreams that we have made, whether it is the defense space vision or the India space vision. We need to buck up our capacity, collaborate, and then deliver on the mandate that has been assigned to us. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable address and for underlining the strategic importance of space capabilities in defense, maritime awareness, and also the national security. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to our next special address by an eminent international leader in the geospatial and space technology ecosystem. Geoinformatics and space-based data have become powerful tools for development planning, agriculture, disaster management, and environmental monitoring, urban governance, and the national resilience. As countries across the world deepen their use of Earth observation and geospatial intelligence, international cooperation becomes increasingly important. And Mr. Chusri's presence today reflects the spirit of global partnership and India Space Congress seeks to promote. And it is my now pleasure to invite Mr. Fei Chusri, Deputy Executive Director, Geoinformatics and Space Technology Department Agency, for the special address.
Distinguished guests, excellencies, esteemed colleagues from the global space community, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, namaste. It is a privilege to participate at the 5th India Space Congress in this historic city of New Delhi. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the host for inviting us to be special guests of honor, and a very warm welcome to ISC 2026. When we talk about this year's theme, reimagining space, reinventing collaboration, it directly mirrors what we are doing right now in Thailand at GISDA, which is my organization. We are the space agency of Thailand, which are responsible for space activities and geoinformatics in Thailand. We have our cabinet resolution to provide the satellite image and satellite data to all of our state entities within Thailand. Therefore, we have to procure and acquire the satellite system for Thailand. Our core mission has always been about translating space technology into tangible ground-level benefits for our people. Right now, we are fully focused on developing our national space ecosystem, anchored by our Earth observation satellite constellations. For now, we got our first satellite from Airbus. Actually, it was called EADS Atrium almost 20 years ago. And then we got our TOS-2 from Airbus and our TOS-2A from the subsidiary company of Airbus in UK. They call SSTL or Surrey. So we are in the process of acquiring more and more satellites. And we have the target, our new target is about 18 satellites. It is called constellation. So we cost about 28 billion baht. So that is under the considering of our National Space Committee and our National Economic Council of State to approve the budget to acquire the 18 satellites to make more satellite system into Thailand. That includes the SAR system and optical system also. These assets are the eyes in the sky that allows us to manage natural disaster, optimize smart agriculture, and tackle the pressing challenges of climate change across Southeast Asia. So let me inform you again that since we are the space agency of Thailand, therefore every state entity, that's including the military forces, have to use the satellite image from GISDA. So we also provide every satellite image to all of our national entity within Thailand. But to truly realize the potential to these constellations, we know that we must look beyond our borders and build strong modern, legal, physical foundation. That is why Thailand is undergoing for massive transformation in its space infrastructure. We aren't just thinking about satellites anymore. We are building comprehensive ecosystem that opens the door wide for international investors and innovators. So that's why it means that we are open to every country to come into our mega constellation project to make the bidding. For our TOS-2, there are many countries all around the world that are coming for the bidding, such as Israel, the US, Korea, Japan, and China. But at that time, there's no one from India is coming to us yet. So therefore, I want to inform you that we have the potential to acquire the satellite system from India also. And I will inform you later on that how deep and what did we do with Indian space ecosystem earlier. First, we are actively finalizing our National Space Act also as an equipment to boost up our space economy. This historic piece of legislation will establish a clear, predictable, and business-friendly regulatory framework. It is designed to protect investment, streamline licensing, and give global tech companies to confidence they need to be set up operations in Thailand. Second, because of our unique geography, Thailand is seriously exploring the development of a spaceport also. Our equatorial location offers distinct physical advantage for orbital launches, and we are laying the groundwork to make this a reality. So this spaceport is under the feasibility study. So we already do the collaboration with CALI, which is the Korean Space Agency, and they said Thailand has a potential to do that. And now we are studying about the business perspective, that does it work for the government to invest the money into the spaceport or not? And if it is, how big it is, and which orbit should it be? So when you combine our upcoming Space Act, our spaceport initiatives, and our robust industry supply chains, Thailand is positioning itself as a prime hub for the global space market. For the investor and entrepreneur sitting in this room today, my message is simple. Thailand's space sector is open for business, and the opportunities are vast. This brings us to our deep, long-standing relationship with India. The partnership between our countries in space sector is a beautiful example of regional synergy. We have made incredible steps together. A perfect example for this is the launch of our TOS-2A, where the Satish Dhawan Space Center was selected as our launch site, and we use the service of NSIL for that. The reason why we think, PSLV is a good launcher because the successful rate is very high compared to the other country, and the cost is really effective. So that's why we have tried to learn more about India, about the launcher system, about the satellite system, and we would like to learn more and more. What kind of technology that India has and how reliable it is. and of course, it is really cost effective. This market is major milestone in our satellite capabilities and showcase how we can leverage shared expertise between India and Thailand. Furthermore, we can absolutely thrilled to host the Chandrayaan-3 replica at the Thailand Space Expo in 2024, which is last year. This special showcase was generously sponsored by the Embassy of India in Thailand. And I would like to take a moment to thank them for making it happen. Seeing that replica in Bangkok was a source of immense inspiration for our space engineers and the general public. It brought the spirit of India's historic lunar success right to our doorstep, providing that the sky is no longer the limit of regional ambition. But as the space economy evolves, our collaboration must involve too. Historically, our relationship has been heavily G2G, focused on capacity building, training, and data sharing. The foundation is rock solid. The next chapter of Thailand-India space collaboration should be driven not only by governments, but also our entrepreneurs and innovators. We need to bridge the gap and move G2G to B2B. We encourage closer partnership between Indian space tech startup and Thai technology firms, fostering joint ventures and commercial collaboration across satellite services, downstream application, and advanced technology. By connecting our innovation ecosystem, we can transform technology excellence into tangible economic value for both nations. To help kickstart this B2B momentum and give the space economy a major boost, GISTA hosts our flagship annual event, Thailand Space Expo, this year around October. This expo has grown into a Southeast Asia premier gathering for space technology, bringing together policymakers, innovators, startups, and major industrial players from across the globe. It is the perfect marketplace to discover local tech talent from joint ventures. I want to take this opportunity to extend a warm personal invitation to all of investors, startups, and industry leaders in this room today. Come to Thailand Space Expo. Come to see firsthand what our ecosystem has to offer. Meet our brightest entrepreneurs and explore how we can co-develop the next generation of space technologies. Your presence and expertise would gratefully enrich our discussion and spark incredible new partnerships. Ladies and gentlemen, space has always captured our imagination, but today it requires our collective collaboration. As I conclude, I would like to wish a successful, fruitful India Space Congress 2026. Thailand stands ready to enhance our partnership with India by combining India's industrial capacity and proven launch capabilities with Thailand's dynamic new infrastructure, regulatory frameworks, and strategic regional position. We can build sustainable space ecosystem together. Let's work together not just to launch more hardware into the orbit, but to link our economies and create a sustainable, secure for our region. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณครับ
Thank you very much indeed, sir. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor in inviting His Excellency Dr. Munin Shen, representative Taipei Economic and Cultural Center in India, for this special address. Dr. Shen's address will bring an important international perspective to the opening plenary and to the larger vision of reimagining the global space landscape. So let's put our hands together and welcome His Excellency.
Okay. President Dr. Pavuluri, Dr. Nayak, old friend from NIAS, and distinguished guests, very good morning, namaste. I come from Taiwan. It's been 10 months since I worked here in Delhi. But this is my first time talking on this occasion, speaking in front of whole of specialists on space and technologies. And I try to give you a very brief introduction about Taiwan and space technology. You know, Taiwan is much smaller than India. So today is a middle power. So we came to space technology research much later. Only in the early 1990s, then we start our space program. And because we have a very limited resources, so we have to be very selective. We cannot do everything like India. So in the past 35 years, you could say that our space technology development, we have 3 stages. In the first stage, we try to acquire technologies from outside, and mainly in satellites. So we managed to manufacture 3 satellites. We call it the Formosa satellite. Formosa Set 1, Formosa Set 2, and Formosa Set 3. And in the second stage, I think it started in 2004, and we try to manufacture our own satellites. Because the first stage we cooperate with other countries, mainly US. And in the second stage, we try to manufacture our own satellites. And we saw that we have a Formosa 5. And today, since 2019-18, we entered the third stage. Now what do we do in the third stage? Mainly we have 3 major projects. One is that we have launched 100% indigenous meteorological satellites. We call it a Triton. In 2023. It's a weather satellite. Very advanced stage. And we also have a Formosat 8, and it is a high-resolution optical remote sensing constellation satellite system. And this system will provide daily global coverage with a 1-meter resolution imagery. And the plan is to launch in total 8 satellites. And the first one already launched last year. And we also have a project we call B5G. That is a low Earth orbit communication satellite program. We want to cooperate with other countries, to create to deliver a broadband, multimedia services, support disaster relief, and also for the communication purposes. And we also try to develop some long-term capacity. But for a small country like Taiwan, it's not so easy. And today, I think space technology already entered a new stage, as I heard from other honorable speakers this morning. Right now, I think that it doesn't make sense for you to do everything by yourself. So early stage of self-reliance has to turn into a new era of building a new partnership. And as you know, that Taiwan is a very important manufacturer for advanced computer chips. So in terms of the computer chips, in terms of the IT technologies, we have some advantage. So I think that Taiwan and India, we could work together. 3 years ago, we had some cooperation in space technologies, mainly for science purpose. I think 3 years ago, our Central University, they had a CUBE satellite, and then it was launched by ISRO. And so I think that for Taiwan to continue cultivating talents for space technology is always important. But we cannot ignore that there are also economic and national security purposes for developing space technologies. Last year, the people estimated that the global space economy already reached $620 billion US dollars. And this amount is likely to increase to $1 trillion US dollars in the next decade. Yeah. So no country can do it alone. Yeah, we should work together. Yeah. And in terms of the national security, I think it's very obvious that for a small country like Taiwan, we face a military threat from our big neighbor. So, and particularly in intelligence gathering and how satellites and communication could boost our defense capacity is very important. We also look forward to having more cooperation with India. Here in Delhi, our office, we have a very strong team. We have a science and technology team led by Dr. Yang. He actually himself is a professor. Yeah, please stand up. Yeah. He's a professor of aerial and space technology in Tampere University in Taiwan. Yeah, so I think that under his leadership, we are willing. Yeah, and we also have more space for cooperation, building cooperation, and forging partnership with space industries and with scientists communities in India. Yeah. Again, thank you very much for inviting me to speak this morning. Yeah, I wish Congress a great success. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your insightful address and for highlighting the significance of international cooperation, technology partnerships, and shared progress in the space sector. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to a very special segment of our opening plenary session. That is the release of some very, very pertinently important publications. The first publication that we are going to release is Connecting the Unconnected, Designing India's Regulatory Framework for Direct-to-Device Satellite Services. The direct-to-device satellite communications has a potential to become a transformative new layer of national connectivity infrastructure. This report examines the policy, regulatory, and market framework required to enable the D2D service in India while supporting a larger national priorities, including Digital India, BharatNet, Digital Bharat Nidhi, PM Gati Shakti, disaster resilience, and maritime connectivity. The report advances an important proposition. Satellite networks should no longer be viewed merely as a backup systems or the last mile solutions, but as a parallel connectivity layer working alongside terrestrial networks to strengthen the national resilience and universal access. And I would now request our distinguished dignitaries to kindly step forward and do the honors. I also would like to invite from TMT Law, Mr. Abhishek Malhotra to join us for the official release of Connecting the Unconnected, Designing India's Regulatory Framework for Direct-to-Device Satellite Services. This report is a joint effort of SIA-INDIA and TMT Law Practice. So kindly join us on the stage, please. Thank you. TMT वाले Eva. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for release of this report. And the next report to be released is Reaffirming Space from Enabling Layer to Critical Infrastructure, which is a joint venture of SIA-INDIA and EY. This report argues that critical infrastructure designation should not be viewed solely through the lens of protection, but as a strategic economic and industrial policy instrument. And I would like to invite Lieutenant Colonel K.V. Kuber, Director Aerospace and Defense EY, to kindly join our dignitaries for the official release of Reaffirming Space from Enabling Layer to Critical Infrastructure. Lieutenant Colonel K.V. Kuber, if you are there, kindly join us for the release. Or any other representative from EY is here with us, may kindly come up on the stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a teaser report, and building on the discussions over the next 3 days at India Space Congress, SIA-INDIA envisaged the development of the comprehensive follow-up report with EY after the event is over. Thank you, dignitaries. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, the release of Space Strategy and the Future World Order Perspectives from DefSat 2026, SIA-INDIA DefSat book. I would like to invite Lieutenant General P.J.S. Pannu, Senior Advisor, SIA-INDIA, to kindly join us for the official release of the Space Strategy and Future World Order Perspectives from DefSat 2026. This book examines how space is reshaping the national security, geopolitical competition, critical infrastructure protection, industrial development resilience, and the future architecture of the global power. It highlights a central theme emerging from DefSat 2026, that future advantage will increasingly be defined by resilience, connectivity, decision superiority, trusted partnerships, and technological leadership. And ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the release of this very important publication. Thank you, dignitaries, for doing the honors. Thank you, and may I request everyone to kindly take their seats. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we come towards the conclusion of the opening plenary, it is now time to express a gratitude to all those who have made this important gathering possible. And I have the pleasure of inviting Shri Anil Prakash, Director General SIA-INDIA, to kindly propose the vote of thanks. Let's put our hands together to welcome sir.
Good morning, everybody. I think it has been proved space has no boundaries, and space is not, captive with anybody. The gathering today, the full house, the participation from 24 countries, 500 delegates, 200 speakers, phenomenal. Let's give a big hand to all these participants here. And we thought we are not going to see this cabinet gathering, but space is space. You have seen $1 trillion IPO, which is unprecedented, and it is space. So space has got a phenomenon because space has no limit. You can go from one to infinite. So I think if our startups, the 400 plus, they are the one who are going to map this, how they can map the entire space ecosystem, and they are working with the collaboration with our countries. And today we have a witness in the inaugural session, 2 friendly nations with us, and honorable, ambassador to Taiwan, Mr. Mubin, thank you very much. We have 2 MOU with Taiwan, one with the ITRI, which is a government body, and Taiwan Industry Space Association. We are working with them, with you, sir. We promise that whatever you have given, that definitely we will, space industry will work with you, with your startups. Thank you very much. And our friend from Thailand, and we also have a MOU with Thailand to work on the geospatial thing, Earth observation. And sir, we will definitely take your thing and we'll take our industry to work with your industry. Thank you very much. So the presence of our Nayak is a leader, so he's our leader, Dr. Shailesh Nayak, Padam Shri, and sir, he is also the chairman of the organizing committee of 5th International India Space Congress, and he's continued to bless us and guide us. Thank you very much for your body. Admiral Singh, thank you very much for this morning, and really it was a fantastic opening you have given about another perspective of from the services and how industry can be involved. Our friend, Mr. Ramesh Ramaswamy, thank you very much for your very enlightening opening remark and keynote. And Hughes is a great sporter and the partner of the SIA-INDIA, and they're the very first, member from the private sector who has with us for the last February. Steady, Shivaji and his team, they are constantly working with us, and we will promise that we will definitely work with you at other future. So, friends, we have a 3-day very exciting day, and it is a lot of surprises. We are doing something which we have not done before. So I think I'm not going to unveil all of them. You have to experience yourself what are these surprises are unveiling. So we have a 3-track which is going on, and then after this we will divide this hall into 2. This becomes 1 and 2 track. 3rd track is a special track in Allure Hall, and so I think I will leave it to you to just enjoy being here. Thank you very much for your presence.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, we once again thank our distinguished dignitaries as we formally conclude the opening plenary of India Space Congress 2026, Day 1. May I request our dignitaries to kindly come together in the front for a group photograph, please. And ladies and gentlemen, over the next 3 days, leaders from across the world will engage in discussions that will help shape the future of the space economy, satellite communications, defense space. It is therefore my great privilege and honor to once again welcome you all to India Space Congress 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to inform that after this, we will be first proceeding towards the inauguration of the exhibition and a short tea break. The next sessions will convene from 11:30 onwards. We would request you all to be back in time. And most importantly, we will be dividing the halls into 2. And the track 1 will be from this stage, that is Sovereign 2. Track 1 will be from the adjacent stage, that is Sovereign 1.
Track 1 will be happening here, or track 2 वहाँ पे?
वही announce किया मैंने रुचि. Track 1 in Sovereign 2 बोला है. And track 3 will be Allure. And ladies and gentlemen, since we will be dividing the hall and a lot of rearrangements of the furniture has to be done, we would request you all to kindly carry your belongings with you. We do not want you to misplace anything. Kind reminder for everyone to carry their belongings as we will be rearranging the furniture to divide the hall. Thank you. Please enjoy your cup of tea and coffee.